Hey guys, Jim here, and today I want to kind of talk about the marriage of our hobbies, how we sometimes cross over our hobbies, kind of interweave them into maybe like one big hobby. And obviously, the main focus of what I'm talking about here is my love and passion for both watches and for knives. And I obviously collect other things besides that. I have interests outside of that. But these are the things that I spend more money on a more regular basis. You know, it's a lot easier to purchase a few knives or a few watches in the course of a few weeks or a month or a few months or whatnot. You're obviously not going out and buying a new car every month, and you're not buying a couple of motorcycles every month and things like that. So this is the hobby that I tend to do the crossover with a lot more often. And it makes sense that a lot of guys are kind of doing the same thing because in my opinion, both watches and knives represent a marriage of both art and science. There obviously has to be some art, there has to be some beautiful design work in order to attract a customer to that product, but there's also a science to the manufacturing of either one. So you're really getting that marriage of the two. And I had some great conversations this week with a couple of different knife makers. Had a great chance to talk to Elliot, whom you guys know here on YouTube as Ferrum Forge. I mean, that dude is like beyond ridiculously friggin' smart, and the science he has down, well, pardon the pun, but down to a science. It's insane what that man knows about steel. I don't know as much about my own anatomy as that guy knows about steel. And believe me, I've explored my anatomy a lot. I'm just saying, just putting that out there. He knows a lot. So I really call it a marriage of both art and science. And, you know, while I may go out and people can see the watch on my wrist, they may never see, and hopefully they'll never see, the knife in my pocket. I do like to combine them in the way where sometimes when I'm in the mood for it, I'll match them up. Obviously, this is a great marriage. White mother of pearl dial. I've got two mother of pearl discs set into my knife. I've got all this beautiful blue. I've got blue sapphires. The white diamonds go with the white and the mother of pearl. Even the theme matches because this is a very dressy, dare I say, pimpy kind of knife. And this is a very dressy, and again, I have no problem saying pimpy kind of watch. And they kind of go together well. You know, and you're going to have others that are going to do the same thing. Here's another great combination. My Brian Ty, my Tycoon Flipper. You guys know I love, 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 love this knife. Now, while this may be dressy and the watch that I may put with it could be dressy or sporty, I'm generally going to wear an all titanium watch to go with it. This is a phenomenal watch. It's 3,000 meters water resistant. It's completely titanium. The luminescence is just, it's almost criminal. You know, great movement, solid build, incredible quality. Art and science. It's a beautiful design. It's a tool diver. It's much more of a simplistic kind of to the point type of watch. Whereas this is a little bit more elaborate, a little bit more decorated. But I certainly have plenty of all titanium slab-sided knives that are more utilitarian looking that go with this as well. But, you know, you've got that marriage of titanium and titanium, that all monochromatic, all gray look, which was why I chose this dial color as opposed to their others. They have, you know, black and blue and all these other colors. This is what I chose because it kind of made me feel like I'm putting it together with my love of knives, my hobby of knives. You know, other obvious comparisons would be getting into carbon fiber. And I do want to make a quick shout out. Just today, Jason Brous made the announcement that he is going to start accepting pre-orders on this knife, which he just changed the name. It's actually called the Division Flipper. So go to his website, go to brousblades.com and get your order in. And I give you my guarantee. It's probably going to be the smoothest flipper you have ever touched in your entire life. So going back to the whole carbon fiber thing, you know, you break out a carbon fiber knife, or excuse me, a carbon fiber watch. I got carbon fiber in the strap. I got carbon fiber in the dial. Another thing that matches that's not matchy in the visual is the fact that on the inside of this knife, both of the entire frame is built of a skeletonized titanium frame. Well, this case is an all titanium case, as marked right there. So it's black PVD titanium, natural titanium on the case back. So again, I've got my carbon fiber and titanium, my carbon fiber and titanium. Both follow that art by having a nice design. You know, taste is subjective. You may think both are ugly. That's fine. I can deal with that. I didn't buy it for you. And then you've got that function as well. One of my favorite combos, and you're thinking to yourself, how in the shit do you make a combo with that? Well, just so happens. Good thing I love Viper Green. When I designed this watch, I didn't have this knife in mind. Obviously, I designed this watch like 4 years ago, and this knife just came out on the market last year. But, you know, this is a great combo. When I wear these together, again, nobody's going to see this. You don't whip something like this out in public casually like you might something like this. This is a little bit more, oh, look at the pretty knife. This is, dear God, he's probably going to go on a random ass stabbing spree here in the mall. Let's tackle him. So I wouldn't whip something like that out in public. But it's a great matchy-matchy thing, even if only I know that that's been done. So there are a lot of different ways that you can do it. Some practical, some impractical. But you're exploring that love that you have for so many different things. The construction. I want a good, solid build and great materials in the construction of both my knives and my watches. There's a certain degree of precision. It took, I won't even tell you how long it took to perfect that bezel, because no factory wanted to go anywhere near trying to attempt that at the angle that I had it set at. As a matter of fact, they had failed on the crown. Obviously, I called this the gearhead. This was meant to have a crown that was angled inward and had the same gear pattern on the crown. And they could not achieve it where it looked like, it looked like the gears should have with the transmission. They just could not achieve it. It's bulky, it's big, it's thick, it's heavy, it's solid 316L steel. It's a precision-made, Swiss-made timepiece. This was something that when you feel it, when you touch it, you've got something solid. And when you pick up any of these knives, you should feel the same thing. You should feel the quality emanating from the knife or the watch that you're holding. So I guess it's fair to say that the type of collector that would be into watches, it's a very easy transition. Probably, you know what? I'm going to take that back. It's probably an easier transition for somebody that's into knives to make the transition into watches, because they understand the concept of the art and the science, the tight tolerances that are required for the manufacture of either to be manufactured to any type of degree of quality. And the reason why I reversed that was, you don't have to be a special type of individual or have, different beliefs to wear a watch. But you do with a knife, I think. So it's, just because somebody wears a watch doesn't mean they want to carry an edged weapon on them. And that's why I kind of reversed that statement. So obviously not everybody's going to be into carrying a knife on them. And I respect that, and that's fine. Just don't push your beliefs and your views on me, and we're cool. Do whatever you want to do in your own private life. But this is kind of where I'm coming from, and this is more or less to kind of explain to my watch friends who just don't quite get, why is Jim into knives the way that he is? This is kind of that explanation. Just how you can have a, limited edition, here we have a numbered limited edition watch. Well, I have a numbered limited edition knife. Now, actually, this was just Jason testing his numbering. This was actually a prototype, but still. There are limited edition knives out there. There was exactly one made of this knife, period. And this will never be made again in this exact configuration. So on that set, you kind of got the similar kind of feelings going on. You've got the precision in the manufacturing, just like you do in watches, in knives. The tolerances have to be done to a certain degree so that all the parts work well together. That pivot requires lubrication and maintenance from time to time, just like your movements do. Now, not so much on the quartzies that you see there, but obviously on your automatics, yeah, that's going to require lubrication. It's going to require a little bit of a tune-up every few years to make sure everything's gelling, just like in the pivot of this knife. They're going to be made to different quality standards based on price levels. Obviously, This is a very expensive watch. You would expect a high degree of quality. This is a lesser expensive watch. I think these, oh God, what did they retail at? Like $650, and they were commonly purchased for right around the $400 mark. It's not expensive in the world of watches. I expect a certain degree of quality. I feel I actually got more than I deserved out of that with titanium. It's an automatic. It's got carbon fiber. It's really cool. Great lume. So, and that's something that can be said for knives as well. Break out a bad boy like this. Here's where I think about $130. One of the best friggin' knives I've ever had in my life. It cuts, it does everything it needs to do, it's a solid operation, and it was a really, really, really good value. The same would be said for that bad boy right there. You can get into things that are a little bit more extreme, brands that are a little bit hard to get your hands on. Glycine. Not too hard to get your hands on, but they made 350 of this watch, period, and that's it. And I just love the fact that it says BJ on the dial. I mean, who wouldn't love a watch that says BJ on it? So, you're buying for the quality of the materials. You're buying for the quality of the craftsmanship to assemble those materials. And, depending on the price range you're spending in, you're going to pay a higher degree based on the experience level. There's a difference between buying a Swiss-made watch and a watch that isn't Swiss-made. And some of it, yes, is the materials cost. But a lot of it is going to be the labor costs. It costs a lot more to take a Swiss-trained watchmaker that works exclusively out of Switzerland. It costs a lot more to have him doing all the work on your watch and for the final quality control and inspection than it does for something made perhaps in China or actually in Hong Kong, which Hong Kong is an upper level above China. And, what you might pay in Germany or what you might pay elsewhere in the world, there are different varying levels of the pay scale. The Japanese are climbing up. You're going to spend a lot of money for a lot of good Japanese watches. And they're proving themselves. And we're starting to see knives come out of different parts of the world. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I was ever going to buy a knife from Thailand, I would have told you were out of your mind. There's just no way. I'm going to buy something made in America or Japan or, where they're known for quality steel and workmanship. Yet I've got a Uniknife that blows my ever-loving mind, and everything the guy puts out seems to be perfection. So even, how the watch industry is changing a little bit as to how we see the global manufacturing, I think we're starting to see that in knives as well. So I don't know if you guys are like me or not. I know obviously a lot of you are kind of that crossover collector. You'll collect more than one thing and you'll kind of combine the two. But how many of you guys are combining your love of knives and a love for watches? And what kind do you buy? Are you buying just basically utilitarian tool type of watches, yet you're buying all kinds of different knives, and maybe you want to kind of maybe step up your game, and you're like, well, if I'm going to buy, a workhorse knife and I'm going to buy some pretty knives, maybe I want to kind of do the same thing with my watch collection. I know plenty of guys that are wearing, $50, hell, I know guys that are wearing $30 digital watches on nylon straps because it's like a tactical thing and they think it's going to meet up with that lifestyle. You know what? There are plenty of watches out there that are made of stainless steel, sapphire crystals. You have Swiss automatic movement in there. They'll take the same amount of abuse as that digital watch will. I mean, everybody's going to start shouting, G-Shock, G-Shock, G-Shock. I can show you tungsten watches that'll hold up every bit as well as a G-Shock and look a hell of a lot better doing it. Does that mean that there's anything wrong with what you're choosing? Absolutely not. You do what you want. You don't do it for anybody else. You're doing it for your own pleasure. You spend enough time in your daily life impressing others for work to get, ahead in life and get a promotion and things like that. Don't do that. Don't make that sacrifice in your own personal life. You buy what the hell you want, regardless of the name that's stamped onto the side of it, and enjoy it for your own purposes, and you don't need to justify it. Sometimes we have fun justifying it. I love to piss off my friends in both knives and watches by just telling them, I love this, and I'm going to counter every point that you make just for the hell of it, because I have nothing better to do sometimes. Which is also why I really don't do the forum thing much anymore, because, oh boy, that gets exhausting. So anyway, kind of want to hear from you guys, if you guys share maybe this same love or others. I've had, lots of other things kind of crossed over. Right now, I buy a lot of knives and a lot of watches that kind of match with my motorcycle. I've done that to match up with various cars that I've owned. So maybe you're doing the same thing, and I'd love to hear from you. So leave some comments below, and let's see what happens.